I had a crush on the twin brothers who lived next door. When his younger brother found out, he stole my diary and spread it all around school, mocking me. A loser like you think she deserves. My brother, dream on. Even if you were reborn 10 times, our family would never let someone like you through the door. When my stepmother found out, she convinced my father to break my legs. I missed the Sats because, as of this, my future was destroyed. I was kicked out of the house and went south alone to find work. When I saw those twins again, I was wearing a janitor's uniform, falling on the floor, scrubbing marble tiles. They walked by in their expensive suits, elegant and refined, smiling. Emma Johnson, the younger brother, suddenly called my name, asking in disbelief, "How did you end up like this?" At first, I didn't realize that Ryan was calling me. His voice was clear and noble with that natural arrogance, so different from the harsh, rough voices I'd grown used to from my manual labor jobs. Until my supervisor impatiently kicked my butt. "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear Mr. Wilson calling you?" I stopped scrubbing. I looked up in confusion. My eyes traveled from his shiny leather shoes, up to his perfectly tailored suit, then to that handsome face, the face that countless people adored, the face I could never forget in this lifetime. My breathing stopped for a moment. I instinctively tried to turn away, but Ryan grabbed my wrist. His grip was strong, his voice low and filled with anger. "Why are you running?" He stepped forward and kicked my groveling supervisor to the ground. "Who gave you permission to kick her? Do you know who she is?" "Ryan." A calm voice interrupted. It was Ryan's twin brother, Ethan. He walked forward. His leather shoes, seemingly accidentally, stepped on the supervisor's fat fingers. Ignoring his twisted expression of pain, he looked at me with a gentle smile. "Emma, long time no see." They seemed friendly. At least they were treating me like an old friend wanting to catch up. But I pulled my hand from Ryan's grip and stopped back 2 steps. My eyes were red, my body trembling. In a hoarse voice, I said, "You've got the wrong person. I don't know you."
You don't know me.
Ryan grabbed my shoulders in disbelief. "How can you not know me? Look carefully.
See who I am."
His angry voice suddenly stopped. His tears were already streaming down my face. Tears flowed down my cheeks into my wrinkled janitor's uniform. I looked at Ryan with trembling eyes. My gaze was full of terror and fear. He froze, unconsciously loosening his grip, his voice rising in disbelief. "You're afraid of me, Emma Johnson. You're afraid of me. How can you be afraid of me?" His voice was loud, filled with intense accusation and hurt. 5 years had passed. They had become powerful and wealthy. Behind them followed many well-dressed, elite professionals who stopped when they stopped looking at me, whispering, "What's young Mr. Wilson's relationship with this woman?" "Don't know, but this woman looks so dirty. She's a janitor, probably just finished cleaning toilets." Those contemptuous and disdainful looks,
Just like the specter that haunted me.
they dragged me straight back into the abyss of despair and pain. I screamed and pushed Ryan away. I grabbed the bucket from the floor and splashed all the dirty water on his face. I shouted at him viciously.
Get lost.
"Who asked you to pretend to be nice?" I grew up with them. The 2 of them were twins. In high school, I fell in love with Ethan. When Ryan found out, he stole my diary and spread it around school, mocking me. "A loser like you think she deserves. My brother, dream on. Even if you were reborn 10 times, our family would never let someone like you through the door." His words were cruel because he hated me. He always bullied me. But that time his words were especially harsh. During that period, my beloved birth mother had just died. My father's new stepmother didn't like me. When she found out about this, she convinced my father to break my legs. I missed the SATs. Because of this, my future was destroyed. I was kicked out of the house and went south alone to find work. They didn't care about any of this 5 years later. The Wilson family was still on top. Ethan and Ryan graduated from top universities and were thriving. My stepmother had a son, and my father was so happy he gave bone. This is to all company. Employees post praising his kindness still hang on social media today. Everyone was living the life they wanted except me. These years I've been drifting. I lived under bridges, kicked through garbage, and because I couldn't afford treatment, my leg still limps today. My once defiant spirit was worn down, leaving only exhaustion and numbness. Ryan stood there in disbelief, covered in dirty water. His hair was soaked, dripping wet with blood, black, dusty water droplets hanging from his lips. Gasps echoed around us. The supervisor rushed over, frantically grabbing me. "You, how dare you? Young Mr. Wilson. This.
Get lost."
Ryan snapped back to reality. He turned to look at me, turning to his old sharp, bitter demeanor. "After all these years, I thought I'd be charitable and get you an easier job, But you're still as disgusting as ever. He sneered at me. You like being a janitor and scrubbing toilets, right? Fine. Today you're cleaning every single toilet in this building. If they're not spotless, forget about your pay. He stormed off angrily, even followed 2 steps behind, hands in his pockets, smiling as he met my emotionless eyes. He and Ryan looked exactly the same, even wearing the same color and style suits sometimes. Even their parents couldn't tell them apart. But I could always distinguish who was who at a glance. Like right now, Ethan's seemingly kind but utterly fake smile. He was good at playing the nice guy. Wearing a gentle mask, he fooled everyone. Years ago, when my father kicked me out of the house, he leaned against the nearby fence, silently watching. I crawled toward him crying, grabbing his pants leg and begging. But he just laughed softly, moved his leg away, and said to me coldly, "Emma, your feelings disgust. Ask me, you know what, many times I wanted to just kill you. Are you here to laugh at me?" I said impatiently. "Well,
You've seen it now. Get lost."
the smile on his face slowly faded. "Emma, after 5 years, you're still so stubborn." More and more people gathered to watch. Ethan either found it boring or thought talking to someone who had fallen into the dust was unnecessary. He shrugged. "I was going to help you, but now I think I'll pass." He looked at the supervisor and smiled. "Remember to follow young Mr. Wilson's orders from earlier. Otherwise, some people who don't know their place might do something laughably stupid." I was forced to clean toilets throughout the entire building, from the first floor to the 17th floor. The supervisor had some conscience and agreed to pay me overtime for the extra hours. Being able to earn more money still made me happy. After work, my boyfriend came to pick me up on his little electric scooter, putting a pink helmet and gloves on me. He grumbled, "How can your boss be like this? Why don't you quit this part-time job? I'll deliver food at night instead." "It's okay. I get overtime pay." I touched his face, red from the wind, and smiled. "We need to save money to buy a house and get married. I can't let you work alone." My boyfriend was named Jake, and we've been together for 3 years. He was from the countryside with no education or background. We worked at the same company. He worked during the day and did part-time jobs in his spare time. To make money, to save money. We lived together when making instant noodles. We couldn't bear to add eggs. Before I turned 18, I never imagined I'd live this kind of life. Back then, I was a rich girl with countless luxury jewelry. And now I finished my bowl of instant noodles. Rubbing my stomach, I couldn't help but laugh. Maybe it was because I met Ethan and Ryan today that I was thinking about the past. For no reason. It had only been 5 years, but it felt like a dream from long ago. Both ironic and ridiculous. I never wanted to see them again. The wind on the back of Jake's scooter was the only freedom I knew. I wrapped my arms around his waist, the cheap fabric of his jacket smelling of sweat and fry oil, but to me, it smelled like safety. "Hold on tight, Em," Jake shouted over the wind. "We're almost home." I bought some frozen dumplings. A treat. We didn't make it home. As we turned the corner toward our crumbling apartment complex, a sleek black Bentley swerved, blocking the narrow road. Jake slammed on the brakes. We skidded, the scooter tipping over. I hit the asphalt, scraping my palms, but the pain was secondary to the dread pooling in my stomach. The door opened. Shiny leather shoes stepped into a puddle of dirty rain. It was Ryan. He didn't look at Jake. He looked only at me, his eyes dark and unreadable. "Get in the car, Emma." "Who the hell are you?" Jake scrambled up, putting himself between me and the billionaire. Jake was thin, malnourished from working 2 jobs, trembling, but he stood his ground. Ryan finally acknowledged him, not with anger, but with the look one gives a cockroach before stepping on it. "I'm the man who just bought the cleaning company you both work for, and the building you live in, and the debt your father owes the bank." Ryan took a step forward. "Now, get in the car, or I evict everyone in this complex tonight." I grabbed Jake's arm. "Jake, don't. Please." I looked at Ryan, hatred burning in my chest. "I'll go. Just leave him alone." They took me to the Wilson estate. It hadn't changed in 5 years. It was still a cold, echoing mausoleum of wealth. "You're not a janitor anymore," Ryan said, tossing a pile of clothes onto the bed in the guest room, the same room I used to stay in when my father visited theirs for business, back before the fall. "You're my personal assistant. You live here." "I have a life," I spat, clutching the silk dress like it was contaminated. "I have a boyfriend." "Boyfriend," Ryan scoffed, pouring himself a drink. His hand shook slightly, a crack in his arrogance. "That rat? You think he loves you? He loves that you're broken. It makes him feel like a man. He loves me because he was there when I was crawling through garbage." I screamed. "Where were you, Ryan?" "Oh right." Laughing. Ryan slammed the glass down. Ideally, he would have hit me. That's what I expected. Instead, He walked over and grabbed my face, his thumb tracing the scar on my cheek. His expression wasn't hate. It was a terrifying, suffocating obsession. I didn't know, he whispered, his voice cracking. About your legs. About the stepmother. Liar. I thought you ran away because you hated me. I didn't know they broke you. He pulled back, his eyes hardening again. But it doesn't matter now. I found you, and I'm never letting you go back to the gutter. Ethan was different. If Ryan was a storm, Ethan was a silent gas leak. You didn't know you were dying until you couldn't breathe. While Ryan tried to control me with force, Ethan ignored me. He would sit in the library, reading, offering that same polite, fake smile. One evening, a week into my captivity, I found Ethan in the garden. He was feeding the koi fish. Ryan is obsessed with you, Ethan said without turning around. It's quite pathetic, really. Like a child who broke his toy and now wants to glue it back together. I'm not a toy, I said, my limp pronounced as I walked over. Ethan turned. His eyes were devoid of light. Aren't you? Ryan bullied you in high school because he didn't know how to handle the fact that he wanted you. He pushed you away to protect you from, well, from himself. But me? He stepped closer, whispering in my ear. I just didn't like you. You were desperate.
Needy. And now?
You're stained. He dropped a handful of fish food into the water. If I were you, I'd run. Ryan thinks he can save you. But I'm the one who runs this family. And I don't like dirty things in my house. I was cleaning the library, force of habit, when I knocked over a stack of old yearbooks. A small, leather-bound book fell out. My heart stopped. It was my diary. The one from high school. Ryan had stolen it. He had read the entry where I confessed my love for Ethan, and he had pasted the pages all over the lockers. I opened it. The pages were yellowed. But as I flipped through, I saw handwriting in the margins. Look at this pathetic longing. She actually thinks she has a chance. Ryan is too soft. I need to handle this. The handwriting wasn't Ryan's messy scrawl. It was elegant, cursive, precise. It was Ethan's. The realization hit me like a physical blow. Ryan had taken the blame. Ryan had been a loud bully, yes, but the leak? The exposure? The psychological torture? It had been Ethan. Ethan had framed his brother to make sure I hated Ryan and to ensure I was driven out of their social circle. Found something interesting? I spun around. Ryan was standing in the doorway. You didn't leak it, I whispered. It was Ethan. Ryan's jaw tightened. He walked over and took the book from my hands, closing it gently. Does it make a difference?
Yes.
Why did you let me hate you? Why did you let the whole school think? Because I did hate you. Ryan exploded. I hated that you looked at him like he was a god, when he was a monster. I hated that you couldn't see me. So yes, I bullied you. I wanted you to leave school. I wanted you to get away from him before he destroyed you. He laughed bitterly. I guess I failed. The next day, my phone rang. It was the hospital. Ms. Johnson? It's about a Mr. Jake Miller. There's been an incident. I rushed to the hospital, ignoring Ryan's protests. I found Jake in the ICU. He was beaten, unrecognizable. Broken ribs, collapsed lung, shattered fingers. He was jumped, the police officer said. Looked like a professional job.
No cameras.
I knew. I didn't need cameras. I went back to the Wilson estate. I didn't go to Ryan. I went straight to Ethan's study. I threw the vase from the hallway at his head. He dodged it calmly, the porcelain shattering against the mahogany bookshelf. You touched him, I hissed. Ethan adjusted his cuffs. I merely tidied up a loose end. You were wavering, Emma, thinking about your little peasant life. I needed to remind you that you belong to the Wilsons now. Ryan will kill you when he finds out. Ethan laughed. Ryan? Ryan is a dog who barks but never bites. He knows that without me, the business collapses.
He won't do a thing.
And neither will you. Because if you try to leave again, the next time the thugs visit your boyfriend, they won't stop at broken ribs. I didn't run. I didn't cry. Something inside me, the part that had been scrubbing floors and eating instant noodles, finally died. But what rose from it wasn't the old, weak Emma. I realized the dynamic. Ryan had the power, but Ethan had the control. Ryan loved me in his twisted way, and Ethan loved control. I needed to use one to break the other. I started playing the part. I let Ryan buy me dresses. I let him take me to galas. I stood by his side, elegant and silent, hiding my limp with high-end custom shoes. But in the shadows, I whispered to Ryan. Ethan laughs at you, I said one night, lying in the dark. He tells the board members you're unstable. He says he keeps you around out of pity. He said that? Ryan asked, his voice tight. He says he owns you, just like he owns me. Day by day, I fed Ryan's insecurity. I watered the seed of resentment that had been there since they were children. And to Ethan, I played the submissive victim. But I began leaving trails. I faked financial documents to make it look like Ethan was embezzling from Ryan's trust fund. I planted seeds of doubt in the company. The annual Wilson Charity Gala. The entire city elite was there. I wore a red dress, the color of a fresh wound. I stood between the twins. The tension was palpable. Ryan had been drinking. He had found the documents I planted. Ethan was smug, unaware that the floor was rotting beneath him. During the toast, Ryan grabbed the microphone. To my brother, Ryan slurred, his eyes burning. The genius. The mastermind. The thief. The crowd went silent. Ryan, sit down. Ethan hissed, his smile faltering. He stole my life. Ryan shouted, pointing at Ethan. He stole the woman I loved and turned her into a cripple. And now he's stealing my company. Ryan lunged. It was chaos. The two brothers, usually the image of perfection, were rolling on the floor, smashing into champagne towers. Glass flew everywhere. Security rushed in, but the damage was done. The Wilson facade was shattered. In the confusion, I walked over to the supervisor, the same one who had kicked me weeks ago, now working catering. I took a bottle of wine from his tray. I walked to where Ethan was trying to stand up, blood dripping from his nose. I poured the wine over his head. Ops, I said, my voice dead calm. Cleaning needed in aisle 1. The scandal destroyed the company's stock. The board investigated the embezzlement. The fake evidence was convincing enough to start a war. Ryan and Ethan were locked in a vicious legal battle, tearing each other apart for scraps of the empire. I visited Ryan one last time. He was alone in the darkened estate, the furniture covered in dust sheets. Stay with me, he begged, kneeling before me. We can fix this. I love you, Emma. I looked at him. I looked at the handsome face I once adored, now twisted by paranoia and rage. You don't love me, Ryan, I said gently. You love your guilt. You wanted to fix me to make yourself feel better about what you let happen. I can change.
No.
You're a Wilson. You break things. I turned to leave. If you walk out that door, he threatened, his voice trembling, I'll kill myself. I stopped. I looked back. Ryan, you've been dead to me for 5 years. Do whatever you want. I walked out.
I didn't hear a gunshot.
I heard sobbing. That was worse. I used the settlement money, hush money I extorted from the board to keep my mouth shut about the family secrets, to pay for Jake's surgeries. He walked with a cane now, just like me. We moved further south, to a small town where no one knew the name Wilson. We bought a small house with a porch. We opened a small bookstore. One rainy afternoon, a year later, I was shelving books. My leg ached with the weather. Jake walked in, carrying 2 mugs of hot chocolate. He sat down, rubbing his scarred knee. Saw the news, he said softly. Yeah, the Wilson brothers. Ethan went to prison for fraud. Ryan checked into a mental institution. I took the hot chocolate. The warmth spread through my cold hands. Tragic, I said, and I meant it. But it was a tragedy I was no longer part of. I looked out the window. The rain was washing the streets clean. I wasn't the rich girl anymore. I wasn't the janitor. I was just Emma. We need to order more eggs, I said, taking a sip. And maybe add an egg to the noodles tonight. We can afford it. Jake smiled, the kind, genuine smile that had saved my life.
Yeah.
2 eggs. The nightmare was over. The marble tiles were far away. Under my feet, there was only wood, earth, and the steady, solid ground of a life reclaimed.